So, am I just a business deal to you? Did you ever really like me? At this moment, the usually arrogant rich kid had red eyes and a look of bitterness. He rushed to say, "You want money, right? I'll give you all of it. You can't break up with me." $20,000 to lure a guy. Ever since I left my WeChat ID during the last gig, my phone has been flooded with strange messages, everything from making orders to voting and haggling. Today's gig was especially ridiculous. "Sorry, that service doesn't exist," I replied. "It's simple. Just talk to him a bit, and I guarantee he'll like you." The person insisted. "But I'm not one of those stunning beauties. I've been single my whole life. What do I know about attracting men?" "Sorry, I can't do it," I said, preparing to block the person when suddenly, a transfer notification popped up. "Here's a deposit. $20,000. I felt a rush of embarrassment and was unexpectedly tempted. My fingers acted faster than my brain, and I clicked to accept the payment. Seeing the number in my account confirmed it wasn't an illusion. I took a deep breath and asked, "Who do you want me to lure?" "Jason." Seeing that name made my heart sink, and I immediately returned the money. Jason was notorious as a school bully. I heard that on the first day of school, he confronted a teacher and later got into a fight with another guy, sending him to the hospital. When the school made him apologize at an assembly, he boldly declared he would do it again if given the chance. Rumor has it his family is very wealthy, even donating to the school library. I couldn't afford to mess with someone like him. "What are you afraid of? Just say a few words to him. If he doesn't like you, I'll still pay you." The person's tone was filled with temptation. While the money was tempting, I just wanted to enjoy my college years. Letting him fall for me just to break his heart seemed a bit too naive. "Don't break his heart." The person's anger seemed to pierce through the screen, and I realized I had to take the job. As soon as I agreed, the person refunded my transfer. The $20,000 was back in my account. "He'll be at the basketball court this afternoon. It's a great opportunity, just add him on WeChat." They continued. I glanced at my schedule, no gigs this afternoon. Adding a WeChat friend seemed simple enough, but it was still daunting. "Don't worry, as long as you have thick skin, making money isn't hard," I reassured myself. I sent the $2,000 to my mom to help with the hospital fees. Shoo, where did you get so much money?" my mom asked. "School gave out scholarships, just keep it," I replied simply. I arrived early at the basketball court in the afternoon, but the scene stunned me. It was packed, buzzing like a celebrity meet and greet. I finally squeezed into a corner when a girl next to me leaned over and said, "Are you here to see Jason too?" I was taken aback, realizing the gig had added a few competitors. "I'm here for him too. He's so handsome. If I could date him, I'd die happy," she gushed, waving her hands excitedly. That seemed a bit excessive. Sure, Jason was handsome, sharp features and piercing eyes, but his arrogant personality made me hesitate. As soon as 2 o'clock hit, the players entered, and Jason's appearance sent the crowd into screams. He merely scanned the crowd with a cold gaze, as if searching for something. Suddenly, our eyes met, and my heart raced, but he turned away, signaling to his teammates to prepare for the game. Could he have found out about my gig? Once the game started, Jason focused intensely on offense, with his well-defined calf muscles and perfect shooting skills. Putting aside his temperament, he was undeniably impressive. During halftime, a bold girl went to bring him water, but he didn't even look up, focused on his phone. My phone buzzed. "Are you there? Go take him water." Then came a transfer of $200. I didn't want to accept. He probably wouldn't take it, especially since other girls were already trying. "Just give it to me. This $200 is yours," the message insisted. I glanced back at Jason, still glued to his phone, while a girl in a sundress approached with a water bottle. She was the beauty of the English department. Jason frowned in disgust, and the girl left, disappointed. I hesitated, looking at the $200, then sprinted to the convenience store to buy a bottle. Just as I returned with the water, the second half was about to start, and I thought I'd missed my chance. Just as I was about to back out, Jason walked straight toward me.
Can I borrow a bottle of water?
He took the bottle from my hands, easily twisting off the cap and downing it in large gulps. His slightly protruding Adam's apple moved up and down, and before I knew it, he'd finished the whole bottle.
Thanks.
He smiled at me. I was completely stunned amid the cheers from other girls. Could it be, had I actually completed the task? Soon, the second half began. This time, Jason played much more conservatively, mostly just passing the ball. I was too preoccupied with figuring out how to report back to notice the game when I suddenly heard someone shout, "Watch out!" Before I could react, a ball came straight for my head.
You okay?
A voice rushed in front of me, my forehead being examined.
Why aren't you speaking? Did it knock you silly?
I opened my eyes to find Jason staring intensely at my forehead, his right hand rubbing the spot where the ball hit me. I gasped in pain, and he frowned, turning to yell at the players.
Can't even play properly? TMD, come over here and apologize, or I'll beat you up.
I clearly saw a boy turn pale, stammering as he bowed to me.
I am sorry, I didn't mean it.
I shook my head.
I'm fine.
But as soon as I stood, my head spun and I collapsed back down. Jason looked worried, muttering,
I'll take you to the infirmary.
In the infirmary, I suddenly realized he had carried me in a princess-style hold. I struggled to get down, but he insisted on keeping me on the bed.
It's nothing serious, just a bit of ointment will do,
the doctor said. I quietly thanked the doctor and reached for the ointment, but Jason snatched it, pouring some into his palm and gently rubbing it on my forehead.
I can do it myself,
I said, feeling uncomfortable. He was being too rough, and it hurt. He sounded a bit impatient, so I shrank away, not daring to say more. After a moment, he finally released me and handed me a QR code.
Add me on WeChat. Huh?
I blinked in surprise.
If you feel unwell, just message me. Hurry up and scan it,
he said, sounding a bit fierce. I quickly grabbed my phone to add him on WeChat, thinking that once I completed the task, I could go home.
Are you going back? They hurt you, so let them take you out for a meal.
He frowned. No need, it's just a small injury. I have classes, I replied. Jason was too intense, I didn't want to stick around too long. He stared at me for a long time before reluctantly letting go. All right, you can go back. If you feel unwell, just let me know.
Okay.
I quickly agreed, silently vowing not to keep anything from him. When I got back to the dorm, my roommate was startled.
Shoo, what happened? Are you about to hit a romantic jackpot? Not at all.
I washed my clothes while listening to her gossip. The beauty of the English department confessed her feelings for Jason, but he replied with "Get lost," she said excitedly. I don't know who he'll end up with. I sighed, realizing I was in a completely different world than Jason. After hanging my clothes to dry, I opened WeChat and saw several unread messages, all from Jason.
Are you back?
You forgot the ointment. Which building do you live in?
Reply.
I felt a jolt and responded. No need, I'll buy another bottle. He didn't send any more messages but asked again. Did you add me on WeChat? I did. I knew it. Jason would definitely add you. The next moment, I received a transfer of $20,000.
Chat with him.
I was confused, but the temptation of $20,000 stirred my interest.
What should we chat about?
Anything, just make sure to reply quickly whenever he messages you. The person said casually, as if Jason was someone who loved to chat. Seconds later, they added. Just talk to him and get to know him. Get to know him? I wondered, did they want to know his weaknesses? Whatever it was, I was too short on cash. Fine, I'll do it. I agreed, but then the person went silent. It was strange. When I opened Jason's WeChat again, unsure of what to say, he sent me a message.
Let's go see a doctor tomorrow.
It's fine, it doesn't hurt anymore. No way. After taking such a hit, what if you have a concussion? Can't be that unlucky. I defended myself. He typed rapidly, sending me a screenshot of a successful appointment with a neurology specialist at the downtown hospital before I could refuse.
Wow, that was fast.
I hesitated.
Go by yourself? What if you pass out on the street? I'll take you tomorrow.
He didn't give me a chance to say no. For some reason, seeing him like this made me want to laugh. The next morning, we arrived at the hospital, where I underwent a series of tests. While waiting in line, Jason made me sit down and took the initiative to queue up himself.
Going alone? What if you collapse on the sidewalk?
He joked, but obediently stood at the end of the line. Before long, we received the results, and the specialist examined them for a while.
Nothing serious, just take it easy. Your boyfriend should take good care of you.
I quickly raised my head.
Doctor, we're not. Stop talking nonsense. If Jason gets mad.
I quickly fell silent. After leaving the hospital, Jason asked,
What do you want to eat? I'll take you out.
I immediately shook my head.
No, it's okay. I can grab a bite later, let's just head back to school.
I thought about how much he had just spent. His expression soured instantly. I'm hungry. I want to eat now, and you're coming with me. I had no choice but to nod in agreement. He took me to a barbecue place. This was my first time eating barbecue in college. I had never been able to afford it before, only having it during group meals. The meat sizzled in the hot oil, and the rising smoke gradually obscured Jason's face. Are you just sitting there to breathe in carbon dioxide? He suddenly asked, leaving me speechless. Seafood was served, and the meat was almost done cooking, emitting a delicious aroma. Before I knew it, a peeled shrimp was placed in my bowl. Jason picked up another shrimp and urged, Hurry up and eat! Let's see whether you eat faster or I peel faster. I was caught off guard.
And no, I can do it myself.
He frowned. Eat up! His tone startled me into silence, and I quickly stuffed the shrimp into my mouth. Just as I finished one, he handed me another. After eating until I was about half full, I realized he hadn't touched a single bite, solely focused on peeling shrimp for me. He was the one who had said he was hungry. Go ahead and eat. I'm done with shrimp. Oh, then let's have crab, he said, starting to break one apart. I want barbecue, I replied. Then I'll grill it for you, he said, continuing to busy himself. Seeing the slight upturn of his lips shocked me, and I quickly made an excuse. I'm going to wash my hands. In the bathroom, I looked at myself in the mirror for a long time, my heartbeat gradually calming. I reminded myself not to fall for him, he was just a target for my gig. When I returned to the table, I heard him saying,
That kid just doesn't learn. If he dares to provoke me, he'll have to pay the price.
A chill ran through me. What if he found out I took the money? Wouldn't he treat me the same way? The more I thought about it, the more scared I became, and I decided to keep my distance from Jason. Ever since we last parted, he had messaged me several times to hang out, but I had refused each time, citing exam preparations as an excuse. That day, I was buried in books at the library when a chair was suddenly pulled out across from me. Hey, are you studying? It was Ethan, the senior. Ethan was the president of the debate club and had fought with Jason before. I heard Jason had sent him to the hospital. Do you have a boyfriend? He asked with a smile. I shook my head. No, I'm not planning to date in college. Can I be first in line? Can we consider this after graduation? He placed a cup of bubble tea on my desk before leaving. I stared at the drink, shook my head, and went back to studying. Suddenly, a figure sprang up.
Shoo, why are you avoiding me?
It was Jason, looking rather displeased. He caught sight of the bubble tea on my desk and immediately furrowed his brows.
My WeChat, Ethan?
I then noticed Ethan had left his WeChat information on the bubble tea packaging. Jason snatched the wrapper and tore it to shreds before tossing the drink into the trash.
What kind of tea do you want? I'll buy you a proper one instead of this dirty stuff.
Saying that, he grabbed my hand and pulled me outside, his warm grip giving off an undeniable force. I understood his intent, and my heart raced again, but my instinct made me act faster.
I've got things to do. I need to go.
I broke free and hurried back to my dorm. Jason's presence disrupted my usual life. He was the fiery young master, while I was just an ordinary poor girl. It seemed impossible. While I was deep in thought, my phone rang.
Mom, what's up? I'm looking for job listings, shoo. For housework or factory work, which do you think is better?
I felt a tightness in my chest and exploded with anger.
Didn't I tell you? You can't work right now.
My mom had been diagnosed with something in her uterus and underwent surgery. The doctor said she couldn't do heavy lifting, so she had been resting at home. She had spent all her money on treatment. Then, my dad fell ill and was hospitalized, and the pressure felt like a mountain crushing down on me. On the other end of the phone, my mom's voice was filled with frustration and tears. I don't want to either, but your dad can't wait any longer for the surgery. He needs the money. Lying on my bed, tears streamed down my face. Okay, I'll think of a way. You're still a student, just focus on studying. My mom replied. I've been making good money with side jobs, Mom. Please believe me, okay? After hanging up, I buried myself under the blanket, feeling lost. What was I going to do? Money again. To earn more, I increased my workload. I took on 3 tutoring sessions a week instead of 2, and I often went to the company during my free time. After I sent the money to my mom, she was silent for a few seconds before crying. I'm so sorry, shoo. It's all the family issues that have burdened you. Please don't worry about us. How could I not care about them? But this money was still far from enough for the surgery. In my desperation, I decided to borrow money from everywhere I could. Then that strange person contacted me again. Date Jason, and after 3 months, I'll give you 200,000 yuan. That sentence made my heart race. With that money, I could pay for my dad's surgery and help him recover well. I gritted my teeth and finally clicked on the payment. I could do this. I transferred the money to my parents, lying that it was a school donation, and she reluctantly accepted it. Taking someone else's money meant I had to do something for them. I opened Jason's WeChat. He had been messaging me constantly these past few days, but I had been ignoring him. Can you respond? What have you been busy with lately? A new restaurant opened, and it's supposed to be great. How about we go try it together? After sifting through a pile of messages, I finally replied. Sure. As soon as I hit send, my phone rang. On the other end, Jason was barely able to contain his excitement. Where are you? I'll come pick you up. Soon, we were seated in the restaurant. He enthusiastically introduced the place.
This restaurant is great. You love spicy food, right? It's a famous Sichuan restaurant around here.
He ordered several spicy dishes I liked. But when the food arrived, I realized he couldn't handle spicy at all. The entire table was filled with dishes he cooked in plain water. You eat. Don't mind me, just go ahead, he said, his lips red from the spice, chugging down water. My heart ached. He didn't say it, but he was trying to please me, while I was only getting close to him for my own reasons. I lowered my head slightly, suppressing my guilt, and softly said,
Jason, let's date. What did you say?
Jason froze, stumbling over his words. Forget it then. No, 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 we can't just forget it. You are my girlfriend now. He raised an eyebrow and stood on his chair, announcing to the entire restaurant. Starting today, I'm Ming Shu's boyfriend. Before long, news of Jason and I dating spread throughout the school. It was clear why. He was just too good at showing off our relationship. He would drop by the classroom now and then, ask me to bring him water during basketball practice, and seize every opportunity to take me out. My roommates were thrilled and cheered for me. I told you, Shushu would snag Jason. Truly a modern-day prophet. Jason even treated my roommates to dinner, successfully winning over a group of them. One day, carrying water to the basketball court, I noticed Jason had saved me a seat in the front row. As I entered the gym, someone whistled. The sister-in-law is here. Hello, sister-in-law. I felt a bit embarrassed and nodded, quickly running to my seat, trying to act calm. At that moment, my mom texted me. The surgery went smoothly. Your dad will be discharged next week. I breathed a sigh of relief, looking up at Jason running on the court, my feelings complex. I could sense that he really liked me. He despised others eating in his car, yet always offered me food. He hated people touching his hair, yet always bent down to let me touch it. All his rules seemed meaningless around me. But I was just calculating my own interests. I didn't deserve to be with him. Just then, Ethan suddenly sat beside me.
What are you thinking about, little sister?
I tensed up, knowing he had a bad relationship with Jason, and quietly shifted away.
What brings you here, senior?
It's a friendly match between our two majors today. I'm here for logistics, Ethan said, adjusting his glasses, displaying a gentle smile. At that moment, a basketball came crashing down near Ethan's feet with a loud bang. Jason approached with a dark expression, grabbing Ethan by the collar. Stay away from her. Ethan silently glanced at him for a moment, then pulled his shirt free and stood up to leave. Jason immediately leaned closer to me. Shoo, keep your distance from him, he's trouble. I nodded, trying to reassure him. Okay, I won't pay attention to him. Only you. Jason's relationship with me was loud and proud. Within a month, almost the entire school knew. The teachers gradually accepted it too, as he started attending classes regularly, even occasionally joining mine. But his idea of attending class often involved holding my hand, leaning on the desk, and staring at me.
Shoo, you haven't acknowledged me for 10 minutes. Does that old man really look better than me?
The
old man
was currently lecturing on advanced math at the podium. If you keep ignoring me, I'll get mad. If that happens, I'll kiss you like last time. I flushed and shot him a glare.
Don't you dare!
Last time, he had insisted on kissing me in a little grove, nearly getting caught by a passing principal. It made my heart race. But Jason didn't mind.
What? Can't I kiss my girlfriend? If you're annoyed with me, you can kiss me back. I promise I won't resist.
Just thinking about it made me furious, and he seemed to find it exciting, wanting to do it again. Just then, Jason's phone rang.
Shoo, my mom is here. Want to join us for dinner?
I quickly shook my head.
No, I have a tutoring session.
Eventually, he reluctantly took me to my tutoring place. This was my last session, and after class, the employer warmly insisted on treating me to dinner. Just as I sat down, I heard a familiar voice behind me.
Mom, what do you need me for?
It was Jason. You remember my friend's daughter, right? She's about your age, you should get to know each other. No need, I have a girlfriend now.
Really? What does her family do? Is she good to you? When will I get to meet her?
My heart raced. I leaned closer to hear Jason's words through the partition.
She's really great. You'll definitely like her when you meet, but she's busy lately, otherwise, I would have brought her today.
That's perfect. I'll tell your dad to prepare the bride price. Their conversation sent a pang of pain through me, and I suddenly realized that the 3-month deadline was approaching. Jason's mom seemed elegant and gentle, clearly raised in a wealthy family. Meanwhile, Jason was head over heels for me, while I was just calculating how to cover medical expenses and those 200,000. I had been trying to force myself to forget all this, but now I realized how incompatible we were. Rather than getting deeper into this mess, it was better to end it now. Maybe I hadn't been proactive enough in asking him out. I decided to call Jason. His tone was visibly cheerful, and he arrived at the restaurant in no time. When I saw the brightness in his eyes, I felt lost for words. Mingshu, are you free during the new year? Want to come home with me? My parents. I cut him off.
Jason, let's break up. What?
He froze, a hint of confusion crossing his face. I took a deep breath, feeling a pang in my heart. I knew breaking up was inevitable. It would be better for everyone if it happened sooner rather than later.
I mean, we should break up. I don't agree. Why should we break up? Did I do something wrong?
Jason interrupted me forcefully, his voice filled with an intensity that frightened me. His eyes were slightly red, and he seemed on the verge of breaking down.
You're crying?
I was taken aback. Maybe I had been silent too long, as his emotions softened, and he pleaded softly.
Can we not break up, please?
In that moment, I felt a surge of impulse to confess everything, to tell him my true feelings and that I liked him. But when my gaze landed on the watch on his wrist worth over 300,000 yuan, my heart sank. That was the kind of money that could buy his family's life. We were from completely different worlds, and I had started this relationship with deception. It was better to break up now than for him to find out the truth later. Jason, we're not suited for each other. What do you mean, not suited for each other? His eyes filled with tears, but then he forced a self-deprecating smile. Mingshu, when you say we're not suited, is it because you're only with me for that 200,000? My heart sank.
How did you know?
There's nothing I don't know about. You really don't want me anymore? His gaze was piercing, turning cold. I nodded painfully.
Yes. Think carefully before you say that.
Jason slammed his hand on the table, causing the dishes to shake.
Do you really feel nothing for me? Is it all just about the money? Yes.
I said weakly.
Then what does it mean when you invite me out to eat? Isn't it because you like me?
He demanded angrily. No. I shut my eyes and gritted my teeth, forcing the words out with all my strength. I'm here to break up with you. The 3 months are up. I want to break up. Once those words left my mouth, it felt like a knife to my heart. Jason seemed to lose all his strength, slumping in his chair, eyes closed as he asked.
Why not keep deceiving me? If you're willing to lie, I'll believe you.
You're taking this too seriously. I'm afraid if this drags on longer, I won't be able to break free. I struggled to stay calm, watching his expression change from shock to anger. His fist hit the table hard, veins bulging on his hands.
You're afraid you won't be able to break free, so you want to leave? Then why did you agree to be with me in the first place? Was it for the money?
Suddenly, Jason searched through his phone, angrily declaring,
Fine. Since that's the case, I'll just give you all my money. All of it.
He found his phone, trembling as he tried to transfer money to me. I snatched it from him and tossed it aside. No, I don't need it. Let's break up. I turned and ran out of the restaurant, hailing a cab back to school. Everything had changed in just 1 hour. In the car, I cried uncontrollably while the driver occasionally glanced at me through the rearview mirror. The truth was, I did like Jason, it was just that 3 months had flown by in the blink of an eye. But there were many long days ahead. News of our breakup spread quickly throughout the school. It was said he waited for me all night outside the dorm until the dorm supervisor had to take him away. From then on, the label of
Heartbreaker.
Followed me around campus, though some admired my courage for dumping Jason. I later heard he fell ill with a high fever, and his friends urged me to visit him. I refused, saying,
No need, I'm not a doctor. How can you be like this?
Jason's friend defended him.
He's been so good to you, and you treat him like this.
My roommates also defended me, and as tensions rose, I quickly pulled my friend away. People began looking at me with complex expressions, and I would occasionally hear whispers. I just wanted to focus on my studies and part-time job, ignoring everything else. The strange person messaged me again. This time it's 500,000, right up until graduation. I returned the money and deleted him. I no longer wanted to deceive Jason's feelings for the sake of money. I buried myself in my side jobs to numb the pain. One night, after leaving the company, I was getting ready to call a cab when I spotted someone standing in the corner. Jason looked disheveled and far from his usual confident self, holding a cigarette with a faint glow flickering in the darkness. "I'll take you home, it's late and unsafe." His voice was hoarse and chilling as he opened the car door for me.
I'll take a cab.
I said, turning to leave, but he lunged from behind and hugged me. No one has ever treated me like this. What are you dissatisfied with in our relationship? His voice was tinged with tears, and I felt his shoulder dampen against mine. Let it go. You're great, but we just don't fit. There's really no future for us. That night, he followed me in his car, but after that, I never saw Jason again. We were in different majors, and now that we were deliberately avoiding each other, it felt like I could escape him forever. But soon, a shocking rumor spread through school. Jason got into a fight and sent Ethan to the hospital. My books dropped heavily to the ground, panic surging within me. Jason wasn't a violent person, he just had a loud voice when he was angry and wouldn't start trouble without reason. I wondered what deep-seated grudge Ethan held against him that could escalate to this. I heard their parents had come to the hospital to discuss the situation. Taking the opportunity to work on a group project, I passed by the principal's office. Inside, I could hear a sharp female voice.
How are you educating your kids? They've attacked our child again. This time, there's no point in saying anything. Call the police.
I couldn't help but peek through the crack in the door, spotting not only the parents and the principal but also Jason. His mom was holding a microphone, shouting,
My son might have a dirty mouth, but he said that about a girl, as her boyfriend. Of course I have to teach that kind of person a lesson. Boyfriend?
My heart raced, and I leaned in closer to listen. Ethan's mom stood with her hands on her hips.
My son has had elite education since childhood. He wouldn't do something like this.
Jason's mom struck the desk fiercely, alarming the principal.
I've reviewed the surveillance footage. We'll find out who's right and who's wrong.
I felt a wave of frustration wash over me. Jason's temperament was clearly inherited from his mother. The principal opened the surveillance footage, projecting it onto the screen. It was the footage from before the incident, showing Ethan talking to another boy.
The computer science major Mingshu finally broke up. I'm going to pursue her. This kind of woman is quite insecure, knowing she doesn't deserve it, so she obediently broke up. In less than 3 months, I'll have her in my bed.
In the video, Ethan had a sleazy look on his face, displaying a smile that made me feel nauseous.
That's your so-called elite educated son, insulting women.
Jason's mother said angrily, then proceeded to mention Ethan's various misdeeds in the dorm. I was shocked to learn that these issues had been ongoing. I had heard of a few cases of female students being violated but had never gotten to the bottom of them. Now, Jason's mother had already called the police, who were looking for Ethan.
Mingshu, what are you doing here?
Someone suddenly passed by the door and harshly patted my shoulder. Jason's expression changed instantly as he rushed to open the door. I had nowhere to hide and was caught red-handed.
Oh, look who it is, my future daughter-in-law.
Jason's mother poked her head around from behind him.
What are you doing here? Worrying about our Jason?
Hearing this, Jason's eyes lit up. Before long, the situation concluded with Ethan being temporarily detained by the police for his involvement in sexually assaulting women.
So, you know about Ethan?
I asked Jason curiously. I've always suspected it, and he has admitted it before, but there was no evidence, which is why I wanted you to stay away from him. He explained calmly.
What about the bubble tea?
A shiver ran down my back as I recalled the incidents at school. Jason's father called us to the dining room. His mother chatted warmly, while his father chimed in occasionally, but I felt anxious and out of place.
Shoo shoo, what do you think of our Jason?
His mother suddenly asked, and Jason turned to me expectantly.
He's pretty good.
I responded, forcing myself to answer.
That's great. This little rascal can be a bit fiery, but he doesn't bully girls. I've taught him to respect women since he was little.
She smiled.
Yes, I've heard he receives scholarships every year.
Jason's father nodded. As they praised me, tears welled up in my eyes, and I couldn't hold them back any longer.
Mom, Dad, I want to tell you something.
Jason took my hand, his expression turning serious. Mingshu and I broke up because she's afraid we won't end up together in the future. His eyes sparkled with determination. I will only marry her. My heart raced, and I instinctively tried to pull my hand back, but he held on tightly. His parents exchanged looks of relief, and Jason's father patted his shoulder.
Good boy, finally grown up and ready to bear the responsibilities of a man. What about you, Shoo Shoo? Do you want to be with Jason?
His mother asked gently. My heart ached, and tears spilled from my eyes again. I. Speak up. Do you like me? If we're together in the future, I will listen to you. Jason said earnestly. Really? I wiped my tears and asked, my voice trembling. He nodded vigorously, hope shining in his eyes. As we left the restaurant, Jason's parents walked hand in hand ahead of us. Jason and I held hands behind them, his goofy smile reflecting a bright future. One day while cleaning, I stumbled upon a phone in the study. It was a phone I had never seen Jason use before. Could it be for contacting some secret girlfriend? I turned it on, entered my birthday, and to my surprise, it unlocked. There were very few apps on the phone, and even the wallpaper was the default one. I opened WeChat to find only one contact, myself. Clicking in, the first thing I saw was a red exclamation mark.
500,000 right up until graduation.
A chill ran down my spine, and I quickly exited, tapping the profile picture. It was indeed the strange person from before.
Wow, Jason, you're the director of your own little drama, huh?
That evening, Jason came home holding a package.
Honey, I'm back. My new clothes arrived, let's try them on tonight.
I remained silent, throwing a keyboard at him. Instinctively, Jason knelt down, looking pitiful.
Baby, I've been good lately, I haven't done anything.
He pleaded.
Are you sure? Think carefully.
I replied coldly.
All right, I ordered 2 little toys online.
He confessed.
Jason!
I was furious.
Damn it, I feel like hitting someone. Not this.
He exclaimed in shock.
That last strappy top was indeed thrown away by me. It was way too revealing. I don't want you wearing it. Do you want to die?
I shouted, throwing the phone at him. Jason's expression changed, panic in his eyes.
Baby, let me explain. You used to avoid me, you wouldn't respond when I talked to you. I heard about your family's troubles and wanted to help, so I resorted to these methods.
He spoke with increasing conviction, even showing a hint of pride.
It's truly fate that brought us together, all thanks to my money. Then why didn't you say anything up front? Why interrogate me in the restaurant? I did want to confess, but when you said you were only in it for the money, I couldn't say anything in that moment.
He admitted regretfully.
All right, honey, I was wrong. Please forgive me. No way, you're sleeping in the study tonight.
Come on, let's just.